Welcome everyone to our online webinar launch. My name is Henrietta Podgorska and I'm the project manager. It's great to have you all here. Today marks the official launch of the Community Housing Future WA program online and hopefully in the States, or people who couldn't make the other events or the upcoming events. Hopefully today you can learn more about what we are doing and what the program is for. Before I go any further, on the behalf of Shelter WA, I would like to recognize anyone in the online room with a living or lived experience of homelessness or housing security, and thank you for your individual and collective advocacy and expertise and contribution to this field of work. Shelter WA acknowledges the Whadjuk Noongar peoples as the traditional custodians of the land and their ongoing connection to the land, waters, and community. We pay our respect to the elders past, present, and emerging, and I would like to extend that to all the elders from your traditional countries you are joining in from, and honor the enduring strength and leadership in shaping the future of this region. So today we are here to talk about the brand new program called Community Housing Futures. This name really matters. It signals the program is for the community housing sector, it is focused on the future, and it is built for Western Australia. It is also important to acknowledge that the name was inspired by the strong work of our colleagues in Queensland, and we are genuinely grateful for their generosity in allowing us to carry this name forward here in WA. We are not starting from scratch. We are built on a proven foundation, and that is a significant advantage. And here today, we are very, very fortunate to have Liz Kemp again, the program lead, joining us today. Liz, please say a few words.
Hi everyone, thank you for that welcome, Henrietta. So yeah, my name's Liz. I'm the program lead for the Queensland version of the Community Housing Futures program, and we've been running this program now, I think, just shy of just over 3 years. So I'm here today just to share any insights or any questions you might have about how the program's worked in Queensland. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Liz. Especially, I put you on the spot a little bit, so I truly appreciate that. Thank you. So from today, and actually from 13th of April, this is the new brand for the program. So we have sort of stepped away from Shelter WA, although we do carry their colors. So that's why you may have a little bit of flashback of, well, I've seen this one on your logos. It's very true. We wanted to link it back, but also separate it so we can focus on the work in the industry. And I hope that you will start recognizing this program name in the next 3.5 years. The program will end in June 2029, but we're already seeing some indications that, of course, the capability building aspect of it is needed well into the future for the industry. So hoping that we will continue what we are building here as well after. So where to follow us? We are in the process of launching a lot of the aspects of the program. So I highly encourage all of you to please, first of all, get familiar with our website, because that's where we are opening our express of interest. That's where you can launch your grant application. That's when you can visit previous videos and listen to or read some of the information that I'm talking about today, as well as our LinkedIn page, which is more active. So all of our team has access to it, and we're posting information as we are going, showcasing where we are at and what is the team doing, as well as more insight into the individual aspects of this program. So please, if you can ask you one thing at least today, to follow us on LinkedIn, but second of all, maybe check it out, our amazing website. So the little bit of the project, I'm the project lead, and also I am very grateful to have both of my team members here. We have Grace and Kerry, who I'm going to talk about in a second. It started in December, they started in February, so we are a brand new team. Program, again, is not new and have been worked on by an incredible team here at Shelter WA as well as in Queensland, and we got a lot of support, as I mentioned. But putting it into WA perspective, putting it into local industry perspective was the work of my team, and of course, what the previous knowledge that Shelter WA have been building with the advocacy work. So again, as I mentioned, this program isn't coming out from nowhere. The industry have been loud and have been discussing issues in regards to what's happening specifically in WA, in regards to funding and in regards to capabilities. And one of the first major report on that was the Paxson report commissioned by Shelter WA in 2022 that highlighted the strength of the industry as well as how the collaboration between government and the industry can be strengthened and how it can have better outcome for the tenancies as well as the communities they serve. So that was a very important report that launched this advocacy towards this program, and one of the first steps. Again, many amazing people have been contributed to the idea, and then obviously the eventuating this program with the department, who were very keen to make sure that this program happens and launches. The other projects that Shelter WA have been doing and inspired a lot of the concept behind this program was they work with Aboriginal community housing organizations, specifically a project where they helped or worked with 4 Aboriginal community housing organizations to get registered. I believe only one of them that have been not successful, although they're working towards or having discussions. Again, the learnings from both the wins and the losses inspired us and to make sure that the project is suitable for our Aboriginal community housing organizations, as well as Aboriginal controlled community organization and HERF organizations. So we can have those discussions and, avoid some of the pitfalls, but again, or provide the relevant support. Then our Growth Readiness Assessment, which I'm going to talk about it. It's a tool that measures growth readiness with individual organizations. Also, we build on the amazing work from Queensland, but as well as the toolkit that Shelter WA have been developed in collaboration, in partnership with Blue Salt Consulting. This is available. All of them are available on our website. So please visit Shelter WA website as well. And the last project that we had inspired by was the feedback and hundreds of pages of reports in regards to regional engagement. So for our team, it's really important that we connected to the regions. We have been already in 3 different locations and plan to do another 5 or 6 this year. So we are going to be out there talking to local networks, talking to local organizations, as well as making sure that we listen to the needs of the regional communities. So they are just as equal as our metro counterparts. And based on that, we will revisit the regions every single year. And of course, the big inspiration behind how the project is structured came from Community Housing Futures Queensland, the first iteration of the program. So if you visit the amazing website now, you will see aspects of it. They're already in the second iteration, and Liz will talk about it and the reasoning or why what's happening in the second part of the program. But the first iteration was that really inspired our contract with the department, and as well as the work that we are doing with our partners right now, or with our team right now. Who are the key stakeholders for the program? We want to make sure that the program is accessible to the industry. The industry itself is large and is like a mosaic. Everybody is providing an aspect to it. Everybody is working in a certain location with a certain community, certain tenant cohort. So what we wanted to capture is that we can have those conversations and see how the program can be beneficial to these organizations without any barriers. So of course, the main part of the key stakeholders will be the registered providers. So these are state or national registered providers located in Western Australia. And as well on any levels, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, we don't differentiate, as well as the Aboriginal community housing organizations and the Aboriginal controlled community organizations who may already be involved in the housing industry, but they may not registered. On that same token, we also want to talk to emerging and aspiring community housing organizations. They may not identify themselves that way because they may delivering services in aged care or in disability, or they inherited through other services some of the housing that they're managing right now. We would absolutely love to have a conversations and how they're seeing themselves in the new community housing industry and how the program can support them in that journey to becoming either registered organizations or explore what are the benefits of them working within this space. So those are the key stakeholders, but who is behind our program? We have a very strong governance structure, understanding that this program is business to business. It is not working directly with communities, not working directly with people experiencing homelessness or housing insecurities. We are working with organizations who are already doing that amazing job. In order to say that, that means we are going to deal with industry knowledge and organizational knowledge that it carries confidentiality. So what we wanted to build it in there is the confidence. And again, that was also, we like that. I know I'll keep pointing at Liz, but we had some really good conversations around that to make sure that we provide that confidence to the organizations that the knowledge that we are gather only stays on team level. This is why we separated sort of the branding as well as if there's any aspects of the program that needed to be discussed, it discussed only with the steering committee. Of course, board is there, Shelter WA board is there, but they are the governing authority. They get our usual finance reports just as much as any other project, but not the details, because we wanted to make sure that confidentiality is maintained. We're also very lucky that through another program and project, we have an Aboriginal cultural advisor on board, which I'm going to talk about in a second. So they are supporting us with our engagement in the region specifically, but as well as Aboriginal community housing and community organizations. The lower level ones, which is the orange ones, will be stream or aspect specific, and I will talk about them a little bit later. We're also looking at establishing an industry reference group or an industry collective where we can encourage organizations to come together and share resources, share stories, so the network and the industry can have this peer environment where we're sharing the knowledge as well as learning from each other. So this is the steering committee, and I just really would like to acknowledge their work. Firstly, Chad Stewart, who is the CEO of CASWA, who provides high insight into Aboriginal community needs and ensures cultural sensitive strategies are implemented. We also have Kat Snell, our CEO of Shelter WA, who advocates for sustainable and accessible housing solutions, and Mark Donnelly, who is acting executive director for strategic housing and offers expertise in housing policy as well as project efficiency. And since January, have been working very closely together to help shape this program and make sure it is fit for Western Australia. They have given their time and expertise and huge amount of care to this work, lots of reading, reviewing, challenging, and approving an extraordinary volume of materials that needed to be established and written before we can present it to the public and to our stakeholders. So again, I just would like to thank all three of them for the amazing work. And this is my amazing team. And again, I have Grace and Carrie here today. Grace is coming from multicultural and disability advocacy and project management. She has been doing this for many years and have an incredible skills in connecting to people and getting us on the road with the launching events. So an amazing team member, same as Carrie. We've just been down south. Carrie comes from IT project background, have been developing incredible apps already here or leading those app developments here in Western Australia. So bringing a large knowledge when it comes to project management as well as engagements, as well as person-centered and community-centered approaches. Myself, I'm coming from aged care background as well as advocacy for multicultural, multilingual, and multi-faith communities. And I've done a lot of project management, built a lot of projects that they later become operational aspects of the organization. And of course, we have the amazing Mandy, who is going to be our independent Aboriginal consultant, working with us to make sure that we reach every aspect of this industry when it comes to our Aboriginal communities. So the key priorities, I think it's really important that we are committed to work with individual organizations on their key priorities that is identified by them, and making sure that we very clearly communicate how the project can support organizations to do more, to build more, to manage more, or to future-proof the organizations in regards to this very volatile situation that is not just, that is impacting not just the housing industry, but in general our state. Also, we want to make sure that we are listening and learning, and we're going to have a discussion already at Q&A about some of those learnings from our previous Q&As and events. We're definitely taking on board what our industries are saying, specifically in regards to application processes, as well as how we are reaching and approaching them. And also the importance of working with our First Nations people and Aboriginal communities, make sure that it is tailored and cultural respectful support that we are providing here, and ensuring that regional communities also have an access, regional organizations. And hopefully by focusing on these priorities, we aim to foster peer connections as well, create practical pathways, and amplify regional expertise. So the program is going to be, as I said, it's 4 years, technically 3.5, because by the time we started up everything, we are definitely ready to launch. We are going to launch things sequence-wise, and these are the 3 aspects that you will be able to fully access by hopefully next year, middle of next year. We call them streams because they're all individual aspects of support that we can provide to organizations. I like to say that it's like a menu. When you go into a restaurant, you can have an entree, a main, and a dessert. We don't judge which one you want to take on first or how you want to, order. It is about making sure that you know what you need at that moment, and we're hoping that the individual streams that you are choosing to engage with will deliver the outcomes that you're looking for your organizations. All the streams have their own individual ecosystems as well. They build around frameworks, they build around engagements and different contracting and subcontracting arrangements to make sure that we smooth line and streamline some of the processes and how the organizations are engaging, because we understand organizations are under a lot of time and financial pressure. So we don't want to add to that. We want to really be a partner in the capability building aspects of the organizations. So let's start with the first stream, which already opened. So it's on our website. You can visit it right now, and I encourage you to have a look at it. Very simple application, but please, regardless of, we are ready, we have the assessors, so hopefully we can start those reporting and assessing aspects soon. So it is open. What it is a tool. It is a instrument that measures where the organization is at in regards to who they are, their size, who they are servicing, where are they location-wise, and what their aspirations are. So we're taking all of that into accountable, and then we give that's a triage. So we will ask those questions from you, and then we will give this to an independent external assessor who will do the rest of the assessment. They are highly skilled and experienced doing these level of assessments. But we also developed our own instrument around this, thanks to Blue Salt Consulting. And one thing we asked them that what we want to see in regards to this instrument is that we didn't want it to make this as a gap analysis, because traditionally audits are looking at the gaps, what is missing. We wanted to make sure that we're not having that conversation. We wanted to see where the organizations self-describe themselves of where they are at and where they want to be, and if it's just a realistic pathway or if they are the optional pathways, or how they can strengthen that path to reach that goal. And then in the end, there is a report done. Firstly, is automatic based on the answers you're giving to the assessors, but also the assessor will give us a 1 to 2 page description of what the report, what they think about the experience and the assessment, and the realistic expectations of how or where you can grow as an organization. Then in 12 months, we will come back and we will see how it is going. How did you implement some of that recommendations? What you can do in regards to do more. Maybe you want to reassess. Maybe you want to access now grants. So outcomes can vary, and we look forward to seeing where this journey takes us and what can we learn from the organizations accessing the service. So it's around 2 to 3 months to get the report, and there is a dedicated travel allowance for our assessors to visit regional communities. So we look forward to have some of our assessors on the road and hopefully meeting with organizations where they are at in the region. So it is independent, objective, and credible. It's built on the toolkit that, again, you can access online now on Shelter WA's website, as well as industry knowledge, as well as feedback from Q Shelter. We have decided that the best outcome, because we wanted to simplify it in regards to the community housing industry. So the 4 recommendation, again, it will be more in depth and individualized by the assessor, but it will be build more, it will be manage more, it could be registration. So we're also looking forward to seeing some of the unregistered community housing providers to do the assessment, and other pathways, because we also acknowledge that registration not for everybody, and we want to maintain the diversity of services that is currently available in the community housing sector. It is a strategic report that you can use to have a discussion with your managers, with your board, with your CEO, with your teams, and hopefully provide that approach, that maybe the last bit of knowledge that you needed to make those decisions for the long-term sustainability of the organization and capability building. Again, the 12 months follow-up, and for those tier 2 and tier 3 registered providers who undertake the Growth Readiness Assessment at the second round of grants, which I'm going to talk about it in a second, we'll be able to access more than $50,000 of funding, but that will be next year, not this funding round. So the business advisory grants, and we know that people are very, very excited about this, although I have to say I underestimated how much people are also interested in Growth Readiness Assessment, and we already have express of interest in our mailbox, which is really, really great. So they're ready to be allocated. But the business advisory grant is where we're going to give grants to organizations to work on some of the capability aspects of the organization. We identified 4, or it's coming from the initial iteration of the Queensland version, that is finance, business planning, asset management, and risk management. And we also added in registration support, meaning if organization just needing that last bit of support in regards to how they can get registered with the state or national, they can get that support through consultants as well, so they can explore that option. Although we recommend that you do the first Growth Readiness Assessment if it's really the path that your organization need to take. Applications are assessed by a grant panel. So if you remember back to our governance, there will be independent panel. We will supporting them in regards to administration, but they will make a decision. It will be 2 lived experience, 2 industry experts, and we're looking at getting them from East Coast, so they are not in competition with any of the organization applying, as well as one department person. So that will be the 5 people making a decision of all the grants. Projects, so capability building projects, will be for 12 months duration up to 18 months. And the reason we had to make that sharp 12 months project is because of how the life cycle of this program. We want to make sure that we fit in as many projects as we can but in a comfortable manner for everybody, and also we can acquit you all. We also have the advisory service, and they will be through an approved supplier list. So in a couple of weeks, or hopefully next week actually, we will launching our approved supplier express of interest, where we're going to ask anybody in the industry who have been delivering consultation and support to other organizations in regards to the 4 aspects of the grant to register themselves, because organization only can utilize the organizations who are already on this vetted approved supplier list. However, with a caveat, if your organization already have a consultant that you're engaging and you support, and you feel like I want to maintain that relationship, and we only haven't done this because we haven't had the funding, or finally we can do more with our own person that's supporting us in regards to governance or finance or risk, that of course you can apply with that person. The only thing we will ask on the grant application that you say this organization is not on the vetted list, please vet them. We will do our own checks, which won't take too long. So it will not, you don't have any disadvantage for not having a vetted supplier straight from our list, but we have to vet them for 2 levels of due diligence. And again, it will not disadvantage your actual application. We will do that very quickly. And yeah, so it opens on 1st of July. 1st of June, we will launch the guidelines, and then also with the template for the application. One of the big ask was from all the discussions that we're having is to keep the application simple as well as quick turnaround. So I'm very happy to say 1st of July open, 15th of July, we will shut close. We will have 1 month before. So in June, we're going to talk to everybody that we can about it. So they hopefully will, and we're also hoping to bring on somebody on board who can actually talk about what you can use that $50,000 for to build that capability or utilize it for your own organization. And then hopefully in a month, we will be able to find approved list who is needed to who is going to be the approved grantee, and that's announced by hopefully the latest September. Again, we're doing it the first time, so please give us a little bit of a grace. But we are hoping that it can be that streamlined, so you will know that your project is accepted relatively quickly. We will not make you to wait, and we will also be very upfront with organizations who are applying if they didn't get it and how. We will be engaging with you as well and see if there's any other aspects of the program that you can utilize in the meantime. And of course, you can reapply next year as well. So yes, the first funding round will be for 50,000 only. The next round, if tier 2, tier 3 who have done a growth readiness assessment can apply for more than $50,000. What is the upper limit to that? We are currently assessing it with the steering committee, so I can't really give you an answer on that because that will be only relevant for the second round. We're focusing on the first. The last stream or last part of this program is going to be the learning and development aspect. And we are going to build a suite of information, training, but as well as existing providers who are already delivering great work in this industry to bring together a one truth page where you can go, and if your organization needing any other support in regards to training, you can find it in one page. We're also looking at developing our own, as well as probably co-sharing some of this training with our counterparts in Q Shelter. We're looking at still working on that and in discussions, what we can build that is a national issue and what we can localize here in Western Australia. So far, some of the discussions was about how you can get community support up for your own projects, because unfortunately, and I'm sorry to use the word, NIMBYism seems to be a problem even in Basselton. Then there are conversations around feasibility studies, about how to run a project, about how to run a development, how to manage your risk around it, how to engage with the government, how to on the funding round. So we are trying to build up that knowledge because we understand some of the capabilities and skills are coming in usually when there's massive funding rounds and organizations are successful. And then once those projects are delivered, unfortunately, not every organization have the capability to keep those project managers on board. So some of those skills are lost. And given that the volatility of the situation, and we don't know when is the next funding runs are happening, we're looking at and hoping that this program will become that bridge where we can maintain the capability in the industry, regardless of when are those funding coming in and out for organizations. And it will be launched in early 2027. So watch this space. So before we continue, and I would like to just a little bit introduce Liz to you. So Liz Camp is the program lead for Community Housing Futures program in Queensland and has 20 years of experience working in community and social housing across Australia, Aotearoa, New Zealand, and United Kingdom. Her career spans tenancy service, workforce development, sector capability building, and leadership roles, including leading workforce capacity and wellbeing initiative at Q Shelter. We're very lucky that Liz also was able to make our launching events. So thank you so much, Liz, for returning and for being here with us.
No problem. I'm really happy to be here and to see so many people here to hear about your projects. It's fabulous.
Thank you. So I actually probably go back to the question I asked you at the launching event. If you can give a little bit of details in regards to into the second iteration of this kind of work. What was the challenge? What changed in your approach, and what does the evaluation tell you about what really works in building this sector capability over a long time?
So the difference for us really is that between the first and second iteration, things have become a bit more targeted and a bit more flexible. I think I've just written down as you were going through the presentation that I think we've evolved as a program with the sector. So initially, what was required in the grants and the growth readiness assessments in the beginning, what became clear through consultation with the sector and other mechanisms that we gathered feedback was that some elements of the program may not be required to be continued into the second iteration, but other elements did. And then there was some greater flexibility in targeting. So an example of that is in the second iteration, we're not running a bespoke growth readiness assessment process because we had, I think, 23 organizations participate in the first iteration. And it was felt like that we'd probably exhausted the need for a bespoke program. However, what we did do is in our grant program, we are allowing people to explore that if they still want to as a grant activity rather than a bespoke program. The other main change was we've created a dedicated First Nations stream for grants and capacity building. We wanted to increase participation by Indigenous organisations and recognise that that may not always happen organically without a bespoke program. So we've listened to both mainstream sector and our ICHO sectors, we call them here, as to around what that should look like and what might give a bit more of a targeted approach. We are offering larger grants this time around, recognising the evolution of the sector from the first iteration to bigger projects and more growth-related projects. So we've adjusted our purpose and objectives to really focus on growth initiatives, with the first round being a bit more capacity and capability building. And the amounts of grants we're offering this time around are a little larger. So I think this really just emphasises that the second iteration is really building through an expanded training and resources program. Sorry, I did touch on that. We're going bigger with a bit more money for our training and resources, but that we're listening to the sector in how we evolve the program. What's important to know is that our program only ran for 2 years initially. So you're really lucky in WA to have that 4 years to really embed the program, leverage your GRA to then inform some of your grants in your round 2. We didn't always have that luxury because we had to kind of do it all at the same time. So I think you'll naturally see an evolution perhaps within that initial 4 years that we weren't able to until our second iteration. So I think through that process, you'll have that ability to kind of evolve as well. So yeah, I think that's kind of what the main change is.
Yeah, thank you, Liz. And going back to the first iteration, or even now, because you already had one funding round, one of the questions we were getting in events is, so Henny, you have these 4 lovely titles, but what does that mean for an organization? What they actually could apply for? They want to see, a little bit more into that. What would you say? What was like for risk management? What was, if you can, just general terms? I know it is confidential, but if there's anything that you can share there of how they can imagine themselves applying in this program of those were the ones that sought by your organizations or your choice in Queensland.
Yeah, so we're around sort of risk management, and that probably ties into sort of the other areas as well. So often what we found is that people didn't necessarily apply for just one area within the package offered. Often they were interconnected. So risk might go along with the feasibility aspect of could they do property development or not. And like with the organizational risk profile, happy to do that. That might connect it to working with boards and bringing the organization along for the journey and having somebody come on board as a consultant to look at, is this project going to work or not? And what's the risks of the organization if it doesn't? So that leads into that a lot of it was tied, some of it, particularly in our second iteration, are actually tied to tangible projects on the ground where they want to assess, they maybe own some land or they have access to land with a partner, and they want to assess, is it feasible and what's the risk involved in getting a development off the ground on this particular piece of land? Other things might be connected to more of their internal capability to be ready to grow. So particularly in the first iteration, we had a lot of early step projects. One that stands out to me was around because you've already mentioned it, they wanted to build the capacity of the team to engage with community, to sort of avoid that NIMBYism and try and sort of bring the community along for the journey. So you had something from like that level of project to, feasibility, getting a development off the ground. And I would say what we've encouraged our sector to do is just see any growth or capability raising project you might be interested in, to put it into, to come and have a conversation with your team, or even just apply, because I think it can be quite broad brush. It isn't necessarily just a development project.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And what would you say, what was the biggest win that you have with this project, if you can share that?
Yeah, I think the biggest win, and I mentioned this at the launch in Perth, was our regional reach. So on our website, on our Community Housing Futures Queensland website, we have a map of where we've engaged and where the providers are located in Queensland. And we were, the project team were really deliberately targeted and had a deliberate strategy to look at how we reach those regional organisations. We were very keen to make sure it wasn't an SEQ only programme, or wasn't seen that way. So much like you're doing now with going out to your regional areas right at the beginning, the project team did that in the beginning to really make sure people were engaged, understood what the programme was, and how it could help them. And ultimately, that's led to a number of those smaller CHPs and tier 3 CHPs in regional areas being able to participate. And in fact, 70% of all of our CHPs or CHOs were tier 3 organisations who participated in the programme. And now what you're seeing in the second round, having just done another grant round, is a lot of them, their capability has really increased. So now they're developed, like maybe they did a more of a capability programme in round or iteration 1. Now they've got a development coming off the ground, and they've got some land, or they're partnering with people. They've got that. You can really see the lift in skill.
Oh, amazing. Amazing. Well, hopefully we'll see this in Western Australia as well. We are definitely looking at how we can support the organizations, again, meeting where they are at, and then see how later on can be uplifted, that capability, and hopefully see, not building is not the ultimate aim, but obviously it's so great to hear that organizations are taking on some of those larger aspects of community housing.
Yeah, if I can, I'd like to share a quote with you that so when I let them know that they've been successful in this round of grants, so this is what they said to us. So the Community Housing Futures Grants Programme has been instrumental in supporting our housing service. Without this funding, so they've had the funding in the first round, now get it in the second, we would not be in the position we are in today, particularly with the development of our housing growth strategy, and most recently submitting our first QCHIP application. QCHIPS is our government funding round here in Queensland for state government funding for housing. We are incredibly grateful for the support and opportunity, and look forward to continuing more work with this new grant opportunity. So you can see, I mean, I think that just encapsulates what it can do and how it can help an organisation.
Hi, it's Kim from Advanced Housing based in Albany, Western Australia. Sorry, I couldn't see where to put up my virtual hand. I was just curious about the grants. I appreciate they're not here yet from Western Australia, but I was curious if the Queensland version or the WA version would be able to use the grants towards software. So for instance, if software increases the efficiency and capability of the organisation, could the grants be used towards that rather than the financial, business and risk management capability?
I'll let Liz to answer, and then I will say what we are doing here whilst we are considering. So thank you for the question, Kim.
Yes, as part of our evolution, we have looked at software and infrastructure, and that is one of our eligible or categories within our second iteration of grants. Whether that will happen in WA is obviously up to this initial programme. We particularly, I mean, it still has to, how we've done it is it still needs to connect to growth or capability building. It's not, and that needed to be demonstrated in any application that we received related to software. One that I think came through for us was around financial modelling and using software to be able to do that. And that was really then able to tie into feasibility and growth and projects and development. So that's how we've kind of approached it and then also that ties to finance as well. So there's obviously ways you can make it fit into one of those categories for us, but obviously, Henrietta, you may have comments for what that's like for you and your grant program here in WA.
It was definitely one aspect that we wanted to have a look, and it's on our discussion. So the steering committee will finalize the guideline in the middle of May, and this is one of the items on it. So I can confirm that we are definitely in discussions and leaning towards having that in there, because we understand some of the capabilities can lie in better system, more efficient system, quicker processes that can support the organization to then redeploy, knowledge or time or energy to other aspects of growth. So again, once I'm able to by 1st of July, and Kim, please reach out to us. I'm hoping to give you information as soon as we have that confirmed. But we were inspired by what we're seeing in Queensland. So it was part of the initial discussion of what we will what we will have as an eligible item. That's one of the other, there's a couple of other aspects that we want to make it eligible. One of them is exploring internal personnel. That's in the exploration. The other one is, and it's definitely now part of it, is that we will allow $5,000 or up to $5,000 of the grant to go towards managing the project from the organization perspective. So you will have that overhead, because we understand one of your staff will have to talk to the consultant or the system admin. So we're looking at having that support as well. So you're not just have to, in kind would be important, but we also want to acknowledge that it will take some work from your end as well to implement the capability building projects within your organization. So hopefully, Kim, I can confirm that to you as soon as we can.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other question?
Hi, I have a question, please, if I may. And likewise, yes. I couldn't see the icon to put the hand up. I'm just asking if the grants are available, please, in the event an organisation doesn't follow a CHO registration pathway, if that transpires in the end. I'm not prejudging the conclusion, but in the end, if the conclusion didn't end in a registration pathway, are the grants still available?
Yes, as long as it's an aspirational community housing, because again, we have the registered and non-registered housing organizations. It is working in an ecosystem. So Martin, please reach out to us. We don't, in our first iteration of the round, we definitely will have it open, and it will be about seeing how that capability can uplift the organization or capabilities within the industry, and we understand that registration is important for the department and the state, but at the same time, we also understand that it comes with its own burden on the organization, and some organizations choose not to go down on that. Again, it's about capability building. Some organizations have their own houses and managing their own housing stock, and reusing their own income to develop that without being actually registered. So we're seeing that in the industry. Again, we will have that conversation and hopefully build that relationship to see where it can go. But we will not limit. This is why we have that aspiring community housing or emerging community housing organization. And maybe the capability later on will lead down to that registration pathway. We obviously will know after we having had that discussion and see where for example, your organization and at. Yes. So
thank you.
Thank you. I just would like to thank Liz, who joining us again from Queensland. Liz, thank you so much again for coming along and sharing your incredible knowledge.
Absolutely, my pleasure, and really keen to see how we all collaborate together as we go on with our respective programs and the commonalities. And yeah, it would be great. I'm really can't wait to see as well what projects your CHOs get off the ground and what the impact will be. So it's going to be amazing.
Thank you so much, Liz. And again, thank you for my team, and thank you for everybody attending. If there's any questions, please reach out at team@communityhousingfutures.org.au. Thank you so much. Bye, everyone.